All right, we are streaming, I hope, and we are going to see how long this lasts. We haven't been having a lot of good luck with streaming recently, unfortunately, but we are going to do our best. And again, let's just make sure that we're seeing the stream. I think the issue that I've been having has been overstressing the graphics card. I think it's been crashing on me. We'll see how things hold up today. Hello, CJ. Good to see you. I don't know if you guys just saw that, but for some reason, my altimeter keeps resetting to 0. I'm not quite sure if it's something in
Hello, Turkey.
Active Sky XP or what.
American 2946. Have the plan for you. Ready. Copy now.
So if you guys could
give... keep changing your call sign, what's the problem? Are you 1946
if you guys could give me a radio check,
46?
That would be great.
American 2946.
Turn the radio down a little bit.
Okay, you're once again logged on with the wrong call sign, and you're currently logged on as American 1946.
So today's flight, we're going to first of all test to see how long this thing is going to last. We'll turn off the radios for a second. We're on Pilot Edge, as you could hear. The goal is to fly from Portland, Oregon to Tri-Cities, Pasco County, which is KPSC, Papa Sierra Charlie. I just want to make sure this is really working. The weather is a bit sketchy between here and there, so we've got overcast skies. We'll be doing some simulated IMC on this flight. Route is the Battleground VOR, Victor 112 to the what VOR is that? To the Dalles VOR or Klickitat. Then up to on Victor 520 to Tri-Cities, and we're going to shoot the RNAV Yankee 30 approach. Hi, Scott. Hey, Scott, if you could give me a radio check, that would be great. I think I've got the radios all working correctly now, and the volume is working correctly, but if you could give me a sense of how that's coming through, that would be wonderful. So shoot the RNAV Yankee runway 30 approach. We'll probably get vectors to the initial approach fix at I or E. But if not, we could try to shoot the full approach, come in from Pasco, and then fly the course reversal. I'll make that decision when I get there. There's nothing wrong with flying the full approach. Course reversals are good practice. We're going to fly out at 7,000. I'm sorry, we filed 9,000, which we'll be up to for a little while. Minimums for us, we're going to be having LNAV, VNAV, so our decision altitude is going to be 749. Visibility of 1 mile. Currently, weather is fine for that. Overcast and some rain at Pasco in the real world, which is what we've got running here. But fine for a IFR approach, at least for minimums in this aircraft. Should take us about an hour and 30 minutes, so a little bit of a longer flight. We'll see how long the stream holds up. And that's assuming 135 knots. This airplane's been cruising quite a bit faster than that, so we'll see how that goes. It's been about 10 minutes in that this has been crashing, so hopefully that won't happen. Let's try our camera views again. Left window. All good. Right window. All good. Front window. All good. And as you can see, we can see the GPS here. And we're going to be putting in our flight plan here in just a second after we get our clearance. Okay, so speaking of clearance, let's get that. I'm going to hide the chat for a second so I can pay attention to what I'm doing here. Our clearance frequency is 120.125. And we may get a standard departure here. We'll see. There is a variety of departures out of Portland. Portland clearance November 15 Juliet Golf with uniform IFR to Tri-Cities on file.
Number 15 Juliet Golf, Portland clearance, say equipment suffix.
SR20.
No, that's your aircraft type, say equipment suffix.
Oh, I'm sorry, Slant Golf. I use the in-game plugin.
Number 15 Juliet Golf, clear to the Tri-Cities Airport, fly runway heading right over to Battleground VOR, then it's filed. Maintain 3000, expect 900,000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 124.35, squawk 5601.
Okay, cleared to Tri-Cities, fly runway heading, then expect vectors to Battleground, then as filed 3000, 9000 after 10, 124.35, and squawk 5601 for 15 Juliet Golf.
Number 15 Juliet Golf, read that correct?
Okay, so let's just make sure we've got that right. Takeoff, runway heading. And then vectors to BTG. Then as filed, expect 3000. Clear to PSC. And 9 after 10, in case we lose our radios, 124.35, and squawking 5601. Okay, we've got the frequency in, we've got the squawk in, runway heading, we'll see what runway we get. Hello, everyone in the chat. Good to see you. Ground 121.9, and we'll get our flight plan in here. So, BTG. Been a while for me. Supposed to fly in the real world today, but too windy here. Then BTG, pretty much direct to LTJ. That's that next Victor Airway. Oh, not LSJ, LTJ. Then LTJ. And they may vector us here, so let's put in these intervening waypoints here just in case, because some of them are actually on the approach chart. So rather than going direct Pasco, let's go ample. Again, I love this 430. And then we're going to go Ver2. This 430 is made by Real Sim Gear, and it's great. And then PSC for the approach.
Boeing clearance radio check.
Last aircraft calling, say call sign.
You guys hear air traffic control okay?
23, read you loud and clear.
And then KPSE. Okay. Got the plan in all the way. Looks good. Let's do a map check. That's weird. Why is it taking us to... Yeah, so our map check says we've got a wrong waypoint in there. Hold on one second, everybody. Sorry about that, guys. A little parenting had to go on there.
433 Quebec Flight, contact Oakland Center, 125.
So let's see where the flight plan is wrong here. I can't even really see where it's going there. PDX. Oh, LSJ. That's wrong. Let's clear that out. That's why it's always good to do a map check after you put in your flight plan. Yep, that all looks right now. And you guys can see that on screen. That's working well. Good. Okay. Okay. Oh, hold on a second. All right. Kids come first, right? Absolutely they do. All right. So we've got our flight plan in. It's good to see you, forgotten the passengers. Hope you're well. We've got our flight plan in. We're in GPS mode. We're going to fly runway heading. We haven't been given our runway yet. The ground is 121.9, I believe. Let's see if that actually gives us that. I'm not sure which runway we're going to get here. We are at Atlantic. In the real world, 10 right and 10 left are closed at Portland for certain routes and certain types of aircraft, so we'll see what they do. I imagine they're going to give us runways like they're open, but let's see. Portland ground, November 15, Juliet Golf, ready for taxi with uniform IFR.
Number 15, Juliet Golf, Portland ground, safe position.
We're at Atlantic Aviation.
We're 15, Juliet Golf, runway 28 right, taxi via Alpha.
28 right, Alpha, 15 Juliet Golf. Don't know why I forgot to tell them where we were. Basic thing to do. 28 right, via Alpha. Okay, so if we're going to fly runway heading, we're going to fly 280. Uh-oh. That's not good. Our heading bug changer isn't working for some reason. I wonder if it's UPS
Turkey ground, American
unit
2946,
came
straight taxi
unhooked.
to Quebec, departure.
Let's try
American
unplugging and
2946, stop
replug.
Turkey ground, safe position.
This is tricky back here. Try not to break
Say
anything.
again?
American 2946, safe position.
We're all torturing this poor guy this morning.
We are Alpha 11, American 2946.
American 2946, runway 8, taxi via Alpha.
8 via Alpha 2946.
Curious. Oh, I bet I need to be clicked into this to do it. Yep, okay, it's working. It only sends the keyboard commands if you're actually active live in X-Plane, and I was still running the OSB over here, so that was that issue. Okay, so we're going to fly 280. And then we're going to expect radar vectors to BTG, so we'll make that our next active waypoint. No, I want BTG to be our active waypoint. There we go. All right. Expect 3,000. Or climb to 3,000. Got that there. Got it there. Okay, not that we're going to use that because we're not. And finally, we're going to want to climb at about 800 feet per minute. All right, double check. Hello, Todd. Good to see you. Thanks for being with me today. Hopefully it'll keep running. We'll find out. Everything else is good across the way here. I've never, hey Cubs, good to see you. I've never flown on VATSIM. Okay, everything's looking good. This is the same checklist that I actually use when I fly in the real world. Alright, so flaps are set, ammeter is good, PFD, everything's set. Everything's initialized, we've got our heading, we've got our bug, we're showing the right destination, we're on GPS and not VLOC. ATS we've got our clearance. Time to switch tanks, fuel pump on. Let's go over to the left tank. Positive fuel flow. Fuel pump off. Okay, we are ready to taxi. He's waiting for us to taxi, so let's go. 28 right via Alpha. Hopefully our frames hold up. We'll see what happens when we get into the clouds. Last time I did this, when I got in the clouds, they cratered to 0. This is Mr. X's Portland Airport. It's great, and it is complimentary. Free. Oh, look, we've got crespicular rays coming through. That's pretty cool. Frames are hanging at about 30, which is good. I'm going to just check real quick and see how the graphics card is doing. Load 50%. Good. Make sure this is still working. Well, looks like that froze on me. Not sure why that does that. Maybe I have to click into that screen for it to work. We might just not look out that window today. It doesn't seem to want to be working. It's freezing in the OBS software for some reason, so we'll just ditch on looking out the right window. We'll just look out the left window when we want to see something. Try one more time. Nope, it's frozen back there for some reason. Not quite sure why. Let's just check something out and see if we can fix it. Now it's live. And then if I click out, does it keep working? It does. Nope, stops. So it's when I click out OBS for some reason. Okay, well, we'll just live with that. Okay. Quick run up. $1,700. Magnetos.
Hydro Church Tower, American 2946, running 8, ready to go.
American 2946,
Those are good.
Tower, wind calm, runway 8, clear for takeoff.
Caps pin is out, seatbelts are secure, cabin heat is off, flight controls, that goes up, that goes down, that goes up, that goes down. We've got fuel pressure, we've got amperage, we have oil pressure, oil temperature is good, we have gas, fuel flow is positive, EGT is okay. Coming back out, back to 1,000. Up, down, back, side to side, tail is wagging. Autopilot is disconnected. PFD is set, avionics are set, we're ready to fly runway heading, we've got 3,000. We're going to expect vectors, mixture, full rich. One more run up since I didn't have the mixture in all the way. Everything is as expected. Gotta follow the checklist. Circuit breakers, everything's pumped. Okay, standard takeoff. We're going to rotate at 76. VX is 83. We're going to climb out at 80 at VY, which is 96. That said, we're going to have flaps up at 86. And caps ready at 400 feet AGL. So in this case, about 500 feet. All right. Aileron trim is centered. Flaps are at 50. There goes the weird resetting of my barometric pressure again to 0. Flaps 10. Trim centered. Yeah, we'll see, Todd, how it goes. That's what I'm trying to figure out. We're going to try to flap for real. Fuel pump is set to boost. We're on the fullest tank. Mixture full rich. Lights, landing lights are on. Doors are locked. Time is noted. 12 seconds.
American 2946, contact departure.
Okay, going over to tower 128.35. Let's make sure that's the right departure frequency here for 28, right? American
2946 after your departure, radar contact.
118.7. And be ready for departure on 124.35. And we're squawking and everything else is set. We're ready to go. We are holding short 28 right at Alpha 1. Portland Tower, November 15, Juliet Golf, holding short 28 right, Alpha 1, ready for release.
15 to go, Portland Tower, verify, ready for departure.
Ready for departure.
Okay, ready for release and ready for departure are two different things. Releases don't apply to pilots at Tower at airports. Just wanted to clarify that. Runway 28 right, clear for takeoff.
Okay, thanks for the help. 28 right, cleared for takeoff. 15 Juliet Golf. I fly out of a non-towered, well, let's see, towered airports, that's not necessarily true. At a class Delta, you do have to get your release because they can't release you. I have to say ready for release at Albert Whitted all the time. So, just for clarification. But ready for departure, that's fine, whatever works. I would assume here that, yeah, I would know, but what I need to know is that at a class Bravo or a class Charlie, I don't need to say that. Okay, 3,000 is our altitude. Flying lessons are going okay. I'll tell you the story in a second. Okay. Here we go. Full power. RPMs are as expected. Engine instruments are in the green. Airspeed is alive. We're on the center line. This airplane likes to take off a little faster than its normal rotation. 76, rotate. Seven knots, flaps coming up. Pitch for 96. And get ready for the soup. Flying on instruments here pretty soon.
Number 15 Juliet Golf, contact departure.
Go departure, 15 Juliet Golf.
American 2946, contact Albuquerque Center 134.6.
American 2946.
Portland departure, November 15 Juliet Golf, 1,800, flying 280, climbing 3,000.
Number 15 Juliet Golf, Portland departure, radar contact, climb, maintain 9,000, clear direct battleground VOR.
9,000, direct battleground, 15 Juliet Golf. Okay. And we're getting into the soup now.
American 2946, Albuquerque Center, climb and maintain flight level 360.
And going up to 9,000. And we're hand flying at the moment. Still see a little bit of Portland out the window, but not very much. Okay, if you can't give yourself a hand, you don't deserve one. Just a little saying on trim there. We're going to be flying a desired track of 360, so I'll just put that on the heading bug as an extra reminder. We're coming up. Landing light can go off. Turn the strobes off because we're in the clouds. So how's the flying going? The flying is going slowly for a variety of reasons. Maintenance on the aircraft, my instructor having to leave the area for a while for some personal reasons, nothing bad for him, just he hasn't been able to be around. And my own travel schedule, I've been flying a lot. Weather also has gotten in the way. I was supposed to fly today and had to cancel because of weather. Let's try to go up at about 700. There we go. So I'm not making as much progress as I'd like, which is one of the reasons I'm trying to stick with the sim. Okay, we're just flying off instruments here. 100 knots, climbing at about 1,000 feet a minute. Everything's looking good. Manifold pressure is good. We're a little off center of our line, so we'll come over just a bit to catch it. And we're on our way up to 9,000 feet. Do you think it's worth upgrading to the new Yoko? I have to say, I don't know if I would replace the old one unless I really thought yokes were important to me. But I can tell you that it is very, very sensitive and is much more like, I mean, this Yoko is a great yoke and worth every penny. I have to tell you, this one is much more stable. Like a real airplane, you make small changes in it, and it changes with you. I mean, I can move the airplane just a bit, and so the resolution is really high. Is the awkward thing I'm trying to say. So, I think would I upgrade for it? That's up to you. It's a lot of money. If you could sell yours for close to list, then it's really not going to be a huge amount of extra money to upgrade. If you just wanted to buy the other one and put the other one in the other seat, that's up to you. But I find it's excellent. This Yoko yoke is great. Okay, we're climbing about 100 knots. That's in our range. We're 76% power. We're at 6,000 feet. We're going to start lining in the airplane here for a little more power. And I've got my power percentage here on the gauge I've been working on in Air Manager. And it looks like 82% is about the max it's going to give me, so we'll leave it there. And we're coming up to battleground here in a minute, and then we're going to be making our turn. I guess I have to update my Navigraph subscription. These are FSE clouds. They look good, and with the new Fly AGI utility, you can change clouds on the fly, which is really slick. My frame stayed reasonable through that, which is good. Okay, turn to 076 now. Standard rate. Okay, we're still in our climb. Everything's looking good. Flaps are up. Turn our strobes back on now. Look out the side window. So, Todd, where are we headed today? We are headed to Tri-Cities, Pasco. Whoops. Lost my attitude a little bit there. So we're headed to Tri-Cities, Pasco. But I really like the Fly AGI Twic utility. I think it's great. A little bit of a crosswind here, so we're going to need to come a little bit further left to catch this. Okay, coming up to 9,000 feet. Looks like we're going to be right on top of the cloud deck. I don't want to go any higher. There we are at 9,000, and we need to trim those down a little bit. And we're going to throttle back. Get ourselves trimmed first. To about 70% power. There we go. I'm going to keep trimming forward. There we go. and let's run at about 10.3. Boy, she doesn't want to trim out here. There we go. About 10.3 gallons per hour, and it's 70%. Should be throttle all out. Almost. Take a few more percentages out of it. Manifold pressure is good at 21. Boy, it's been quiet on the radios for a long time, hasn't it? Presume that we're still connected to Pilot Edge. Might just be quiet in the western region today. For departure controllers. View out the left window. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can take some questions here. To install Ortho 4XP, the airports will change or stays as default like before. Not sure quite what the Met question is. Not quite sure what that means. Ortho XP shouldn't change your airports at all. It just changes the underlying imagery of what you see by replacing the default ground textures with satellite imagery. It may also downloads the mesh if you ask it to, which controls terrain. So you may have airports with curving runways after you use the latest version. Okay, we want to climb 0, get the bug set. Okay, everything's dialed in. We're hand flying across the top of the clouds. Do I know how to get the jetways to come to your airplane? I don't. I don't ever fly tube liners, so I'm afraid I don't know how that works. So our desired track is 77. So I don't. Something about auto gate. I think the airport has to be equipped for it. I know there's a hotkey you push that makes it happen. Okay, cruise power level. We're set 70%. Fuel pump off. Mixture. Best economy, fuel balance, we're doing okay. Let's set a timer here for 20 minutes. And that's when we'll switch tanks.
Direct 3937, Portland Clearfield,
There they are.
Sacramento Airport, Harmside departure, harmed intersection that is filed. Climb and maintain 6,000, expect level 39010 minutes.
So far, things are hanging in okay. Frames are hanging out. It's getting me about 20 frames a second, which is a little slow, but manageable. High enough to still work on Pilot Edge. I know for sure it's probably the clouds that are doing that. I hope that my graphics card is hanging in. It's been, for some reason, yeah, it's only 80% load. That's good. It's a 1080 Ti, and for some reason it's been
Max 3937, read that correct?
it's been going with a full load, like 100% utilization, and it's been intermittent ever since 11.3, and I'm not quite sure why. We're a little high on our altitude here. Okay, we've got a ways to go. We've got about an hour en route, depending on how we fly the approach. I'm going to keep trying to hand fly rather than turn on the autopilot. What add-ons do I use for the clouds? I've installed a lot of different cloud sets. This is FSE. What's really cool about TWIC is if you've got others, so I've used XEnviro in the past, I've downloaded some other cloud packages, and somehow it knows where all those are, and with the flip of a button you can switch them. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to crash my graphics card. I've had some problems with it when I've been streaming. But you know, if you switch to a different, you click a button on the TWIC utility and all the clouds instantly reload as new textures. It's really cool. So it makes it easier for you to find textures that you like and that work for you. I think these textures are nice. I think they look good. I like the FSE ones probably best of all. There's a view out the side window. They look pretty realistic. So that's what I've been using, and it also, since I have active sky in, it shows the active sky, and their cloud textures are actually pretty cool. I probably like them second to the FSE. I just think FSE overcast looks real, and you know, that's the look I'm looking for. Kind of wandering around the sky here as I'm playing with YouTube. Playing with YouTube is not something we would probably do in the real airplane. If you're learning how to use your GPS in your sim to fly IFR, most pilots that I know when flying with a GNS 430 don't go with this screen. They actually go with this screen, because it shows you how far off you are, how many miles you are off from your center line. I'm just barely off. You can actually show cross-track error. I don't know if this will let me modify the, yeah. In the real sim version of the software, you can actually set up your fields and you can show cross-track error if you wanted, which would show you how far off track you are from a distance perspective. So basically, you want these two numbers, the direct track and the track, to match. Direct track is the straight line track you should fly to get to your destination in the GPS. Track is what you're flying. And as you can see, I'm just a little bit, just a shade right or left of center. The line is where I want to be. The arrow is where I am. So I want to fly just a little bit to the left to catch it, which means I want my direct track, my track, to be a little bit below my direct track, maybe 1 degree, just like that. Really small changes. And then with that, in a minute, I'll catch it, and then they'll equalize. So it's all about small changes, you know, 1 degree here. We'll just wait for them to catch up, for me to center it, which is happening pretty soon here. So now I can come back to maybe 7.6. Here we go. And then I'm on the center line, so now I can come to 7.7. Sometimes just a little nudge of rudder will bring you over. There we go. So then it's just about keeping the wings level and paying attention to what the wind might be doing to you. The wind can blow you also, though the track is usually accounting for that. So if we were in the soup, I would just be flying wings level here because I'm on my track. I'm where I want to be. And I've modified this real sim, this air manager gauge to show my track here, just like it would in the real airplane. So I can see 7.7. Now for me, flying 7.7 track, which is where we're moving over the ground, is a heading of about 7.4. So I can move my heading bug to 7.4, and then that'd do it. I can also see in here, I can see what my track is versus my desired track, and I can see when it's left or right of center also, so I can see my ground track. So, there you go. All right, we've got some traffic I can see on my iPad. And we keep crying a little high. Let's see how well trimmed we can be for 9,000. Let's just let go of the airplane for a second. See where it wants to go. It wants to descend. Now it's going to come up. Let's level it out here and see where it wants to go. Still wants to go up, so we might trim nose down a little bit more. And we got to catch our heading, our track. We're off a little bit. So far, so good with the stream. I'm happy to see. I haven't posted a stream in a long time. I haven't been eager to really do a lot of this when I've been working on my instrument rating. But I felt today that it was probably worth it doing. All right, let's get our approach plate on the chart here. It already is. So let's engage the autopilot for a second. Nav. Okay. For some reason, it's not showing
American 2946.
that my autopilot is engaged here, but I know that it is because I can tell how the airplane's flying. So I'll have to figure that out. I'm not quite sure what the issue is. Okay.
Number 15 Juliet Golf, contact Seattle Center 121.4.
Going to center on 21-4, 15 Juliet Golf.
Number 33 Quebec, no traffic.
Notice how his signal quality is getting worse as we get further away from Portland. That's an awesome thing about Pilot Edge right now.
Great day, 330 Quebec. Bulgaria Center, good afternoon, American 2946, 360.
American 2946, Albuquerque Center.
Seattle Center, November 15 Juliet Golf 9000.
15 Juliet Golf, Seattle Center, Dale's altimeter 2990.
90, 15 Juliet Golf. Okay, that's going to change our altitude quite a bit here, a couple hundred feet. 800 feet actually. Almost to the month. Well, let's see, from 299 to 2990 would be 900 feet. So, there you go. High to low, look out below. So we're actually lower than we thought we were. Okay, so we've captured that. We've got a little time here. I put it on to autopilot for a second. I don't know if there's any questions anybody wants to ask. I can answer while I've got the time. Oh, sorry, I just disconnected the autopilot. There we go. Because this is all supposed to take us, the thing that takes us to the front view also disconnects the autopilot. All right, well, I'll have to remember that so I don't disconnect the autopilot during a critical moment. Maybe we should take this moment to reassign that button for the front view.
Center America.
Nah, we'll just live with it.
Is about 150 on the.
What I'll do is I'll disengage the autopilot here before we change the view.
John Wayne, flight level 340.
Next 1051, Denver Center.
Okay, well, there's a wonderful view of the Columbia River below us, but we can't see it because of the cloud cover.
American 6227.
Right, 6227, American 1051.
We just had another periodic adjustment where for some reason our barometric pressure goes down to 0. Not sure why that happens, but it does. Stream quality looks pretty good. coming up to the Dalles. We've got 7 minutes to that waypoint.
Bravo Tango, Yakima ground, runway 27, taxi
8 minutes
via
till
Alpha,
we
cross
switch.
runway 22.
8 minutes till we switch tanks. Okay, so kind of a status on the sim. I've been flying, and we're gonna disconnect the autopilot and hand fly here for a few minutes. There we go. So I've been mostly using the sim to practice instrument approaches and instrument flight. And so I haven't wanted to be streaming in a lot of those situations because it introduces distractions that I wouldn't have in the real airport, the real airplane. So we're making a bit of an exception today, which is fine. I need to have a little more, a little left, little right aileron trim.
Radar contact 64 miles northeast of Lamar VR, cleared to Southern Wayne Airport at South, maintain level 340.
I cleared that file 340. Just checks for American 1051.
And I'll probably stick with that. I probably will continue to not do a whole lot of simming while streaming during their instrument work. It has been really cool to use a sim at the flight school. I feel like I've been a little better prepared for that, given how much work I've done in the sim here and the practice I've gotten with Pilot Edge in particular. I actually knocked out my long cross country in the real airplane requirement. That's 250-mile flight with 3 different approaches at 3 different airports. I knocked that out on my 3rd lesson. And I don't think that's because of anything other than the fact that I've got a lot of sim time and had used the Pilot Edge ratings. You know, I'd gotten up to, I'd flown like up to the I-5 or I-6 or something like that. So I had some sense of what it was like to fly on instruments and to try to hold altitude and heading, although I'm not doing a very good job of holding heading right now. So it's been helpful, and a lot of people asked me. I'm just checking on something on my calendar here. Okay, a lot of people had asked me, you know, what's my view on VR versus the real thing. In fact, hey, now I gotta know 13794. Do we go by comma or coma in the chat? It's coma because it doesn't have 2 M's. It shows you how smart I am. A rocket scientist here in the pilot seat, ladies and gentlemen. Coma. Yeah, I kept the setup for sure. I've kept it for instrument training. Also, just as an aside, that thing that we're working on together, I started making some good progress yesterday. Yeah, I know it's Keith. I just didn't know if you wanted to go by your nom de guerre or if you wanted me to call you by your actual name. Yes, I've kept the physical setup. I love the VR, but I have to tell you, as I'm doing my real-world instrument work, this is a great tool, better than the VR for sure. And I would really, you know, if somebody said, well, I just want something to play around with my family, or a project or a hobby, I think those are good reasons to build a cockpit like this. If you just wanted to feel like you're flying, and in particular do VFR work, the VR is unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. But for instrument training, I mean, it's just not realistic to be trying to write down clearances and work with the radios and do everything else you're trying to do. For me, in VR, and a touch cockpit of whatever format is a real asset. Oh, the PE experience, I think, has been a huge help. a huge help. I feel like I'm so far ahead. And I got to tell you, Keith, you probably know this, but don't underestimate the power of the I ratings, because you know, and your training classes are so excellent that watching the briefs and flying them with your guys on the radios is as real as it gets, in my view. And you know, and I jumped right in and did that long cross country. You know, I wasn't doing it out in some quiet part of the country. I was flying it in Tampa airspace and shooting approaches into Lakeland, which is a busy regional airport, and into Gainesville, which is a busy regional airport, and you know, dealing with Tampa approach. And they're pleasant. You know, they're not quite like the guys in some other parts of the country who can be a little more direct, but you know, it's busy, quick handoffs. I did another flight the other day where we shot approaches at Sarasota and St. Pete Clearwater, both of which are just about a 10-minute flight. So, you know, I took off, got vectored directly into the ILS, took off, was then almost, you know, directly on top of the PIE approach, went and flew a hold, you know, then was directly back into Whitted, and to be able to handle the handoffs and the pace and stay ahead of the airplane, I think the simulation time with Pilot Edge was instrumental. I made some mistakes, but you know, I feel like I have much more experience with instrument procedures and instrument flying than I actually do, and that's because of Pilot Edge. Yeah, I think one thing I've noticed is that with VR, when you're in the soup, it really feels like you're in the soup. So I've gotten spatial disorientation. I've gotten the leans in the VR headset. I think it's valuable from that. So, you know, I might be worth doing, like I can see VR being excellent for partial panel. Keith, I think partial, like if I was going to practice partial panel, do that in the VR because it'll be just like it is in the airplane that you're simulating. And here, you know, I'd have to block out or, you know, figure out some way to fail something that had failed. Back-to-back apps makes for a ton of work. Yeah, that's true. And so it is. Yeah, approaches. Yeah, it was busy. It was fun. But VR for partial panel, and I think partial panel in the soup would be great because again, you can you can get a case of the leans in the VR. Okay, we're coming up to the Dalles here. We're going to be making a turn in just a minute. We're holding our altitude pretty well. After I watched the Real World Coast to Coast video series that Keith Smith at Pilot Edge produced, which I highly recommend to anybody who really wants to learn about this stuff. And that means it's time to switch tanks. So, fuel pump on, positive fuel flow, going over to the other side. Still fuel pump off. Timer started. Okay, here's our turn to 052. Standard rate. But for procedure work, I think the physical cockpit is a big asset, the bottom line. Oh, we just had a weather reload. Okay, we're about 23 minutes from one of the initial approach fixes into this procedure. Again, we're going to fly the RNAV Yankee 3030 into Tri-Cities. If we vector from Ample, they'll take us to Irie, then to Iheo, and then no procedure turn necessary from there, although I might request it just to fly it. It's actually written as a full procedure turn for us rather than just, if we come in from Pasco, we would just do a course reversal Oh, we just had an instrument failure. So sometimes SPAD next will reset. That just happened. The way I fix it is I kill it and reload it. We have rain. We have rain. Okay, let's turn on autopilot for a second. Why I mess with this? Sounds like rain.
Eastern 2291, back correct, expect runway 30 right.
That is the Fly AGI tweak actually creates that rain sound, which sounds quite realistic.
American 2946, good afternoon, sir. We need to step off for 20 seconds. We'll report back.
American 2946, roger.
Okay. Okay. Got our gauges back.
There's 1 Juliet Golf, contact Seattle Center, 132.6.
Going to center on 32.6, 15 Julie Golf. So just like I would in the real world there, I turned on the autopilot to reduce my workload when I was dealing with that issue. Seattle Center, November 15 Juliet Golf, 9000.
November 15 Juliet Golf, Seattle Center, Delta Altimeter 2990.
90, 15 Juliet Golf. I like that rain sound.
1051, change to my frequency 127.02.
I like that that rain sound. Sounds good. Sounds real. I don't know how it's coming through for you guys. No, Keith. I'm training in an SR20.
American 1051, Denver Center.
51, go ahead.
Kind of a nice view out the window now.
Change to my frequency 127.02.
12702, American 1051.
There's a really nice view out the side window on the other side.
51, we're up on 12702.
It has a tendency to not
American 1051,
show what I want it to show. Let's see if I can get it to do that. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the SR20 is a great airplane, and it's been a blast to fly in. There we go. We've got a nice view. There's the Columbia River Gorge. Okay, we're about 20 minutes out from Ample. That's where we'll start getting serious about the approach. About 10 minutes, we'll brief it. Thanks, Colin. Happy to be here. Yeah, so that's the gorge down there. It looks good. The ortho scenery looks good. Clouds look good. I'm interested to see if I have rain here if I turn on the composite radar on my, yep, showing some rain. Okay, out the front view.
Apple 37, American 2946, back with you.
American 2946,
Turn the radio up so I can hear better.
124.62.
Hello, father, son. Good to see you.
American 2946, thank you. Have a nice night.
Okay, let's start getting ready. As my instructor would say, if you find yourself with nothing to do, do something. 125.65 is going to be our ATIS. Get that switched over. See if we're monitoring that.
53 Zulu.
We are. Boy, Keith, since if you're still on, the you watch it from your favorite sushi restaurant. Sushi sounds good. Since you're still on, I have to tell you and I've told you before, but the noise degradation, the signal degradation in this is just awesome. It's just really great. All right, so we've got our ATIS dialed in. Let's just remind ourselves we're going to come in. Let's turn on our autopilot. Well, no. Let's do one thing at a time. If we're going to brief the approach, we're going to brief the approach. If we're not going to brief the approach yet, don't brief the approach. Sky 6, so you're into the sky ratings already. Well, father, son, I don't know if you've picked up on it since you just joined, but Coma, right below you, is Keith Smith, the founder of Pilot Edge. I know that you're a huge fan of his platform. Okay. They are cruising. They're at Sky 6 already. Yeah, I've got to pass the 11, and then I can get into the sky ratings, which I'll do next. Okay, we can start getting ready here. Get our approach loaded. We're gonna do the 30 RNAV Yankee 3. There we go. And we're going to probably take it from Every.
Eastern 2291, San Jose ground, good morning, runway 30 right, taxi Zulu, Alpha 1.
And we'll just load it for now. Okay. Map check. Generally looks right. Get back on our heading and our altitude. Got a little off there. Cool view out the window. I have to say, with the rain going by, it's pretty crazy looking for me right here. If you stare at it, you get dizzy. So let's stare at our instruments instead. Head down, cap of the bill of the cap down. Let's fly our instruments. So Keith, you'll appreciate this. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a pilot, and he has a Lancer that he's not even flying. He bought it. He heard his broker buddy called him and said there's a Lancer that is coming out of personal issues between the owners, and it's a fire sale, and they made a low bid and it was accepted. And so he has this Lancer that he's not even using, and I don't know what model it is, but he said it does 220 or 230 in cruise. Hey, Have 0077, thanks. Glad to be here. We're in the condition. We're in the soup now, aren't we? Okay, we're going to start coming down here at some point because when we get to Irie, we're going to be at 4,500 feet on that leg. So we should start getting ready for that. We're 12 minutes from Apple. I'm not sure what model. I don't know the models, so when he told me, it sort of went in here and out the other. But I said it's fast. And I said it does like 220, and he goes, yep. So I'm happy to find out if you'd like to know more. Yeah, everything's fine with me. I've just been flight training and have been trying to use the sim for practice and not for streaming. Today we're doing a little bit of both.
2021 number, squawk 4673.
Yeah, father son. It's great that you're modifying some of these aircraft to work better in VR. Having some network issues here. There we go. Frames are hanging out all right. Okay, let's turn on the autopilot and brief the approach. Okay, briefing strip. Watch channel 860005. Final approach coast is going to be 301. Might as well get that dialed in, just so we're consistent with what we're seeing. Minimum altitude at Akwu is going to be 2200. For LPV, we're going to have a decision altitude of 655 feet. We're actually going to fly for the LNAV, VNAV minimums, which is 749. Airport elevation is 410 feet, so we're looking to be about 300 change over that. Missed approach, climb 900.
2376, San Francisco ground, good morning, runway 28 left, taxi via Alpha, Foxtrot 1, full throttle, runway 1 left.
Missed approach, climbing 900 feet, then climbing left turn 5200 direct pades and hold, then climb and hold to 5200 if we're not there already. We probably will be. Our MSA runway 30 is 4800 feet. Altimeter set is going to be to inches. Local altimeter center we have.
Eastern 121, runway 30, right, clear for takeoff.
We're not going to be using DME on 30, then we're going to worry about VDP non-authorized, that's fine. Since we're on that, okay, we've got compensated, we're good there. We're authorized to UL nav, VNAV, it's plenty warm. Helicopter visibility we don't need to worry about, controlled lighting we don't need to worry about. If we come in ample and we get the direct to IRE, which is what I'll request probably as an initial approach fix that they ask. We'll be down at 4,500 feet. We'll come into IHEO. No procedure turn is necessary. We'll be down to 3,300 feet and then descend to 2,200 for the final approach fix. Then we're flying the LPV down and we have a decision height. We've got a visual decision point 1.2 nautical miles out, at which point if we don't have the runway environment, we're gonna bail and fly at that altitude to the runway threshold, at which point we'll run the mist. For the LNAV 749s, our decision altitude visuals is 1 mile, and we should be fine for that.
DMGCW, Salt Lake Center, good morning, clear to Battle Mountain Airport as filed.
Approach is briefed.
Maintain 16,000, departure frequency 133.25, clock 6773, hold release.
Checklist tool is running. I'm not running a checklist tool. I'm using a checklist. And in VR, I peek under and use the actual checklist.
Southwest 2376, cross runway 1, left at Foxtrot 1, hold short of runway 1
Okay,
right.
approach is briefed. Let's start listening for the ATIS.
Eastern 2291, contact local departure.
Visual approaches in use. Read backhaul runway assignments and hold short instruction. Advise on initial contact you have information with Bex. TRI Cities Airport. ATIS information with Bex. 1653
Eastern
Zulu.
2291, local departure, good morning, we're about to fly at altitude 5,000.
Visibility 10. Few clouds at 8,000. Ceiling 1000 overcast.
Southwest 2376, cross
Temperature
runway 1 right
17.
at Foxtrot 1, continue via Foxtrot.
Altimeter 29088. Arriving and departing runway 30.
Okay.
Visual approaches in use. Read backhaul runway assignments and hold short instruction. Advise on initial contact you have information with Bex.
Okay, we've got the weather. We're going to disconnect autopat and hand fly here since we're in IMC. We need the practice.
Cirrus 5 Juliet Golf, contact Chinook approach 128.75.
Okay, Chinook approach 28.75, 15 Juliet Golf.
Eastern 2091, climb and maintain, flight level 190.
Weather has stopped, that sounds better. Chinook approach, November 15 Juliet Golf is 9,000. We'd like to request the GNAV or the RNAV Yankee 30 approach, and we'd like to do that from IRE as a fix if possible.
November 15 Juliet Golf, Chinook approach, good afternoon, proceed direct IRE.
Direct IRE 15 Juliet Golf. This is why you load but don't activate the plan, because now you can go down and you can go direct and activate from there. Okay. This is the RNAV GPS approach. Network problems. My frames are fine, but I think maybe somebody in the house is streaming.
November 5 Juliet Golf, cross IRE at above 4,000, cleared RNAV Yankee, runway 30 approach.
Cross IRE at or above 4,000 cleared for the RNAV Yankee approach, 15 Juliet Golf. Okay, that's good. We're cleared early. I've got a pretty good lag on my PFD here, which usually is when there's network issues. Seems to be working okay on the stream, but still.
Eastern 2071, climb and maintain, flight level 190.
Okay, so at or below 4,500, so we can come down.
2291.
So we're cleared for the approach, so we can descend.
Southwest 2376,
Okay.
San Francisco Tower, good morning, runway 28 left, clear for takeoff, wind 250 at 24, gas 30.
And bring the throttle back. And start coming down.
Eastern 2091, turn right, direct San Jose.
Say again the waypoint for Eastern 2291.
Eastern 2091, right, direct San Jose, Sierra Juliet Charlie.
Thanks, Keith. I appreciate it.
Direct, right turn direct Sierra Juliet Charlie, Eastern 2291, direct San Jose.
Hey, Captain Mike Sim. Good to see you, man. Okay, timer. Stop it. We'll switch tanks one last time. Positive fuel flow. That can come off. Let's run our descent checklist. We've got our plan, mixture. We're still good. Power level we've set. Altimeters are both on, or the altimeters. Yes, altimeters are set. She gave us 29990. She hasn't told us to switch over to that other altimeter yet. Man, when this network delay is here, though, it's harder for me to fly because there is a lag. It's not smooth. Cabin is heat is off, landing light is on. We've got more weather. Fuel system is checked, brake pressure. We've got pressure on the brakes. Okay.
Southwest 176, sample local departure.
Okay. And we're hand flying.
NorCal departure, good morning, Southwest 2376, 2,000, climbing to 10,000 on the truck.
Southwest 2376, local departure, good morning, radar contact, climb BAC.
Climb BAC, Southwest 2376.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, this is active sky. Yeah, Keith, I'm working real hard. I want to be a safe pilot. And, okay. We just lost those again. So we're going to do what we did last time. Well, let's presume that we don't have an autopilot. And now we have to fly with the distraction. So we can always go straight and level for a moment. We don't have to continue this descent. In fact, I could always just hit level on the autopilot and do it that way. Back off the automation 1 notch. Okay, SPAD next is coming back up. We're back on our heading. The fact of the matter is we could fly without those because I've got fuel flow and RPM on my PFD, and we also have our GPS working, and we've got an HSI, so we would be okay without it.
Eastern 2291, climb and maintain, flight level 230, contact local center 132.95.
May not come back.
Climb maintain, flight level 230 and 132.95 for Eastern 2291.
SPAD doesn't want to load. We'll give it one more shot, and then we'll just fly with the partial displays. In the meantime, we're still coming down to 4,500. Let's see where we were with Chinook. We're Chinook on 128.75, so we can be ready for tower. Let's get tower loaded. It's going to be 135.3. And we are cleared for the approach.
Eastern 2291, local center, good morning, climb and maintain, flight level 290.
See if SPAD's going to come back or not. Try one more time. Again, oh, we just had a weather reload. How about that? Our weather has changed. All right, looks like SPAD is back.
Connection established.
All right, now we're back in the game. Okay, I'll take a quick look at the chat here. Active sky with FSE clouds, to be clear. See if we can get a look out the side window. The ortho, it looks great. Yes, we are on pilot edge and we are flying the RNAV Yankee 30 into Tri-Cities.
Eastern 2291, do not exceed the present speed. Eastern 2291, do not exceed the present speed.
Okay, 4,500 at IRE, then we're going to go down to 33.
Present.
Final approach fix is ACWU, however we say that. And I want to be CBB LED configured,
Eastern 2291, summary.
meaning we'll be in our landing configuration, flaps 50 and 50% throttle, lights on, full mixture ready to go. Bugged, we'll have our heading
Eastern 2291, roger,
and
disregard.
altitude for the missed approach bugged. B, second B, below, will be below the glide slope, and this will be an LNAV approach.
Southwest 2376,
L,
climb and
loaded.
maintain, flight level 230, contact Oakland
We'll
Center
have
132.95.
the approach loaded and ready to go, which we do.
3295, 230, Southwest 2376.
And we'll have the tower and frequency loaded, which we already do. E will be established on the right route. Here we come to 4500.
November 948,
And
Bravo
D
Tango Traffic Tower, good
we'll
morning.
be
Until
displaying the
left
correct
downwind,
source here,
730,
which will be
report me
GPS and not VLOC for us. CBB LED, configured, bugged, below, loaded, established, and displayed. I learned that at the Cirrus Ground School at Lakeland Airport I went to a little while ago. Okay, let's, actually we're lower on right, so let's switch that tank over. And let's not lose our altitude here. There we go. We give ourselves a little more power here.
Southwest 2376, Oakland Center, good morning. Climb and maintain, flight level 270.
View out the side. Looking good. Frames are looking okay. No procedure turn from this standpoint. Now we just need to fly a little bit better. Small changes. Yeah, so for some reason I get a network interference to Air Manager. Same happened with the older gauge instrumentation software I used to work also. And it causes a lag and it makes it a little difficult to fly approaches. I'm glad I'm not flying an ILS. Although the FIPs tend to work okay. Okay. A good place to learn how to sim properly, I think, well, xplane.org has an entire set of forums related to using the sim sort of for real world situations. And then Pilot Edge, I think, is the best available for learning real world procedures. Yeah, Pilot Workshops has great stuff, worth checking out for sure. Okay, we're coming up to IRE. We're only going to have 6.5 miles from there to Iheo. No procedure turn. We'll be making, what time is it? It's 1:30. I was going to fly the turn, but we'll just go straight. No procedure turn. We'll go straight to the final approach fix. Okay, well, we've got visual conditions, so came out of the clouds. Once we get to Iheo, we'll do our final configuration so that we're configured before we get to ACW, ACWU. And again, tower is 135.3. We're ready to go to them. Okay, we might as well get this bugged. We're going to climb to 900. We'll do that when we're on final, because we'll be following the LNAV approach down. well, we don't need to bug a heading because we're going to be flying the GPS. We're going to be flying the GPS fix, so we'll just follow the missed approach, hit the suspend button, and follow it along. We'll bug 5,200 feet.
The UTCW Seattle Center is for departure. Going for the 1010 minutes, report airborne.
Okay, we're coming up to our next fix, Irie. We're at 4,580 feet, so we're above where we're supposed to be. Cool view of the river. Give you guys a quick view. Okay, left turn to 3-1 in 7 seconds. And now we can come down to 3,300. Okay guys, so for you in the chat, I'm going to go sterile cockpit now, so I'm not going to be paying attention to the chat. When we land, I'll check back in.
November 8 Bravo Tango, runway 30, clear to land.
Okay, let's go ahead and run the landing checklist. We briefly approach, seatbelts are set, fuel pump is set to boost, landing light is on. Mixture full rich, fuel selector is on the fullest tank. Flaps as required, we'll put them in when we get just to the last minute. Keep coming down to 3,300, get back on our heading. And we're gonna not look out the window, we're gonna stare down and fly the instruments here. There's 3,300 feet. Next step down is going to be to 2,200. Boy, I really zoomed up when I turned it. Okay, there it is. Okay, we're going down 2,200 now.
16,000, 3 altimeter to 985.
Now we'll get finally configured.
The UTCW is full flex and tied in.
Standard rate. And we just need to chase back to the needle. And here it comes. Okay, 2,200 feet. Okay, we are coming up to our final approach fix. Slow the airplane. Get our airspeed down. Slow down a little more, we can go with flaps.
UGCW radar contact 6 miles west of Boneville, altimeter 2980.
Okay, 2200. Don't chase the needle.
33 Center, good afternoon. Clear to Helena Airport as filed. Maintain flight level 230. Expect flight level 310, 5 minutes after departure. Departure
Okay, first flaps.
132.6, squawk 1315, hold for release.
Coming down to 22. Okay, we're configured, bugged, below, loaded,
Gamajet 833 is back connected.
established,
Departure, plan of flight is not off in 10
displayed.
minutes. Report leaving 10,000.
All right, 2,200 feet. 2988 was our altimeter setting, right?
November 5, Juliet Golf, contact Tri-Cities Tower 135.3.
Go to Tri-Cities, 35.3, 15 Julie Golf.
Eastern 2291, descend and maintain, flight level 270.
Tri-Cities Tower, November 15 Julie Golf is on the RNAV Yankee 30 established.
November 15 Juliet Golf, Tri-Cities Tower, runway 30, clear to land.
Clear to land 3015 Julie Golf. Okay, we are not to our final approach fix quite yet.
Tower, November 9
Oh,
for
we
Bravo
are.
Tango
Okay.
is clear of
We
30.
can start coming down now.
Hotel, taxi to transient parking.
Trim ourselves. For our
November
500
Delta,
foot
you want to go to
descent
the
rate.
north side or the south side?
South side.
November Delta, taxi to parking via Delta, cross runway 21 left at Delta.
Okay, now we're just flying the needles.
Have a good day.
Taxi to parking via Delta, cross 21 left at Delta, remain this frequency. Many thanks, bye-bye.
Eastern 2291, descend and maintain,
Fully
flight level
configured.
250.
Decision altitude is 749. Gonna keep our head down until we get there. Little off center. A little rudder pressure can fix that.
Eastern 2291, descend and maintain, flight level 230.
Still not looking out the window. Chasing our needle a little bit more than I'd like. Let's get our heading bug up there. That'll help keep our turns within the diameter of the heading bug or the width of the heading bug. There we go. Come back to the needle. Here it comes. Coming down to 1,000 feet. Okay, we just lost those. We're flying off the HSI. USB problem is what that is.
Southwest 2376, contact local approach 119.2.
Okay, 800 feet. We've got the runway environment, a little below the glide slope. Hold right here. There we go. Throttle back to 30. We're not going missed. Trim.
Southwest 2376, local approach, good morning, expect a visual approach, runway 16 right.
Over the fence, 92 knots.
Eastern 2391,
Slow
descend
it
and
down.
maintain, flight level 190, contact local approach 119.2.
Start coming out of the throttle. 88 over threshold. Running a little long, but that's okay. Plenty of runway.
Eastern 2291, local approach, good morning. Descend and maintain 16,000, expect visual approach, runway 16 right.
Let's go over here. I don't know where I am. That's another runway. We don't want to taxi
Number
there.
1 Julie Golf, you park in north or south side?
We'll park north side, 15 Julie Golf.
Number 1 Juliet Golf, Roger, Charles next taxiway, cross runway 21 left at Delta, also to runway 30 on Alpha.
Okay. Sorry, I'm a little disoriented. Cross, you want me to cross here on Delta 4? Turn on Delta 4?
1 Juliet Golf, left Delta 4 left on Delta, and cross runway 21 left at Delta.
Okay, left Delta 4, left Delta, cross 21 left at Delta, 15 Julie Golf. Nothing like stopping on the runway there for a second. Left on Delta 4. Let's clean up the airplane. Flaps up. Fuel pump off. Landing light off. Lean for ground ops. I'm going to stay with her. Okay. Left on Delta 4. Left on Delta across 2-1. Left. Okay. Okay, she gave us crossing, so we can go ahead and cross. Still nobody coming.
Southwest 2376, descend and maintain 10,000. Number 1 Juliet Golf, cross runway 30 at Alpha. Remain this frequency, have a good day.
Okay, 30 across 30 at Alpha, stay with you, 15 Julie Golf. Once again, the only thing that's not really realistic about this is steering on the ground. But this is an old model. This is one of the Jason Campbell models, and it's quite realistic in the air, but all these earlier models are not very realistic on the ground. Nobody coming? Okay, well that was fun. We had some, we were in the clouds for quite a while. We had rain, we had SPAD.NEXT drivers or system crashing. We had an approach that we flew right down, and we're right where we were supposed to be when I looked up out the window, which is always encouraging. And another great day flying on Pilot Edge. So I didn't get to fly real world today, but I got to do this, and it's not a bad replacement. This airport's well done. Somebody put some time and energy into this. Let's go right here. And I probably will fly from here on the next flight. I don't know if I'll stream it or not, but I'll probably keep going. Keep going wherever I'm going. And this looks like a good place to park.
Yamaha Tate 33 contact 48 miles north of Ifara.
Turn ourselves around.
Yamaha Jet 833, clear direct Spokane.
Okay, avionics going off. Strobes, navs, beacon, avionics, mixture out, batteries, keys. Okay, well that was cool. That was fun. Let me see what I missed. Yeah, saw that. Configure Pilot Edge is great. More for the Pilot Edge workshops. Yeah, I saw the turn anticipation. I was a little behind it. That's for sure. Don't want to have to come back and re-intercept. I'm not thinking about getting the virtual fly pedals unless they ask me to review them, in which case I'm happy to do so. Yeah, no idea where to park. Well, you know, that's the thing is sometimes if you really want to simulate reality, you should bother to figure out where you're going. Okay, well that was that one we got all the way through, so no crashes. The software worked the whole time. Everything worked out great, so I'm happy to see that. And thanks for watching. And I'll post this online and keep it up. And I guess again, can't have enough of an endorsement for Pilot Edge and what it teaches you. If you're into simulation, it teaches you how to do things real world, and if you are a student pilot, I think it's extremely useful. The controller is a guy, by the way. Well, sorry, Keith, but you could have fooled me. Now I know. My apologies in case they're watching. Signal degradation, perhaps, made it harder for me to hear. Or maybe I just wasn't listening very closely. All right, everybody. I can see the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next stream. And thanks again, Keith, for tuning in. It was fun having you here for the stream. Take care, everyone.